Brand new music from the one and only Elvis Costello. That's the title track from his brand spanking new album, National Ransom. That's his second straight collaboration with super producer T-Bone Burnett. And of course, I'm a longtime Elvis Costello fan. His debut record, My Aim Is True, came out the week I was born, second week of August 1977. But ladies and gentlemen, it's November 26th, 2010. It's another Black Friday, and this is the 196th episode of Media Monarchy. My name is James Evan Pilato. I'm your host and webmaster of the site and show at MediaMonarchy.com. Coming to you live, as always, every Friday morning at 10 a.m. Pacific Time from the Portland Radio Authority, PRAradio.org. And a huge thanks to our list of affiliates, the big two that carry Media Monarchy live worldwide for you. ZeroPointRadio.com. Help simulcast worldwide as well. Their AM and FM signals in Casper, Wyoming on 92.3 FM and 1670 AM. And of course, the worldwide home of free speech, RevereRadio.net. And also, Free Radio Olympia, FROlympia.org, 98.5 FM. And our neighbor to the north, BerkeleyLiberationRadio.net on 104.1 FM in Berkeley, California. OneSkyRadio.com on 90.7 FM, Kasilof, Alaska. StickAM.com/Ground Zero Radio in Canton, Georgia. 89.9 FM, Patriot Radio in La Mesa, Texas. And thanks to Glenn at kboo.info and Jeff at radio23.org. Huge thanks to all those folks who help spread the word about Media Monarchy, the site, the show, the videos, the interviews, the mixtapes, the B-sides, all the massive media pouring out from independent alternative media. You can, of course, connect up FaceSpace, TwitterTube, Ustream, Blip, Cafe Press, send your news tips, and make contact MediaMonarchy@gmail.com. Of course, we're on Skype, Instant Messenger, iTunes, RadioForAll.net, Archive.org, all with Media Monarchy as your keyword or username. And yes, we are independent alternative media that can only grow and flourish with your support. And sometimes that has to take a dirty monetary form. And a huge thanks to Jason in Alaska for his recent donation. His care package will be going out very soon as a thank you for helping keep MediaMonarchy.com rolling and growing and getting bigger and better and spreading this message. We've been on a hiatus from NewWorldNextWeek.com, the weekly video series between myself and James Corbett of CorbettReport.com. We'll be kicking it back December 2nd, this coming week. So yes, a lot going on. And as I may have grumbled about last week, it's one of those times again where the technology gods are against me. Mixer difficulties, microphone, blah, blah, blah. But your support can help make all this happen. And again, I'm not getting rich by doing this by any stretch. I'm only asking for your help to pay for the domain names, to give me some Skype credit to perform interviews. And yes, with some AV gear as well. Our in-studio guest is waiting in the wings, my friends. Security expert and author H. Michael Sweeney of ProParanoidPress.com. And I don't want to make him wait too long, because I'm glad he's here, and we're going to talk about a lot of important things and a lot of very timely things, and see how some of the mainstream media stories relate to some of the hidden issues. We're going to try and hit some of the subtext of what's going on. And yes, that'll relate to everything from the TSA to Star Whackers, as it's poorly euphemistically termed. We, of course, always like to glance at Google News to see what's breaking. And again, this is Black Friday morning, November 26th. 2-year anniversary of the Mumbai attacks, of course, helped along with a Fed implant named David Headley. But of course, we have the Korean situation. 21 minutes ago from the Los Angeles Times, North Korea's artillery and rhetoric keep tensions high. Meanwhile, retail CEOs see longer Black Friday lines. Just like witches at black masses. And the third story on the top of Google News, FedEx seeks missing shipment of radioactive rods. Whoops. But of course, the corporations never suffer from their malfeasance. It's us, the slaves, who have to be groped and prodded and essentially give up any essential personal liberties. Meanwhile, it's the corporations that, oops, whoops, we let that virus out. Oh, whoops, we're missing some radioactive rods. Or how about broken arrows of loose nukes flying across the country? All those things swirl around, my friends. And what we do here is not come at this from a fear-based angle, because there's enough of that coming from both sides of the mainstream and alternative media. And as we always want to point out, just because we have articles posted doesn't mean we wholeheartedly endorse it. We're trying to, again, give you the text and the subtext and the context. So I'm going to do my best to blast through all of the unbelievable news. TSA, JFK, what else do I have to say? We'll start with the 11:25 Newspurge. Longtime listeners know the Newspurge is just a ugly list of headlines put into categories for you, again, to go do the research for yourself. And we title it, The Elite Bleat, They're Obsolete. And that is a line from National Ransom, the track we heard at the start of the show, brand new from Elvis Costello. And I went ahead and posted up the album art for his record, National Ransom. Kind of looks like a dollar bill at first. And you look at each corner, and it's different forms of currency, pounds and dollars and others. And it's done in the style of a dollar bill, but it's in color. And the center has a wolf in sharp clothing and a top hat with a briefcase of money flying out, and it's on fire. And there in the background, you see, of course, the pyramid and the all-seeing eye. We always like to note when artists are able to explicate what's going on, perhaps that a lot of us aren't able to put into words, let alone music. Artists are the ones who generally see and comment. So the first note we'll make on this Newspurge, of course, yesterday was Thanksgiving. And lest any of us forget, we give a link to newsjunkiepost.com on Thanksgiving, celebrating the genocide of Native Americans. Now again, my friends, we don't have time to go into great detail on any of these stories. We're just going to blast through them. So, buckle up. 9/11 updates. Think Tank reports from rawstory.com that 92% of Afghanis have never heard of 9/11. And yet, if we can make a gruesome analogy between that and Native Americans, a population blamed and brutalized for something they had nothing to do with. Most 9/11 workers settle their suits over toxic ash. More on that from MSNBC. And a related note on the terror events that move the agenda forward. From the Daily Mail, 7-7 tube driver was told the blasts were only a power surge as he pleaded for help. 7-7 related to 9/11 in many ways. But we move to our biowars and enviro health updates. Gulf oil spill recovery executive dies in a plane crash. Another crash of convenience. As we will note, the cleanup operations happening in the industrial complexes that connect military, media, pharmaceuticals, government agencies. U.S. scientists significantly more likely to publish fake research. That's from phys.org.com. So keep that in mind when We get this article from the Los Angeles Times. Toxic waste dump ruled out as a cause of birth defects in Kettleman City, California. There's a mass amount of birth defects, but it's certainly not from the toxic waste dump you live on. A letter from the editor on foodsafetynews.com on moving Plum Island. Of course, we've noted in recent weeks the discussion about moving the biolab to Manhattan, Kansas, where even their own reports note, yeah, there's probably a 70% likelihood that we'll let some bioterror eugenics germ out. FDA stops sales of Darvocet after more than 50 years. More on that from allgov.com, and maybe we'll again make the gruesome note that perhaps we should have stocked up on some Darvocet and Four Loko before they were all banned, so that we may have some kind of bartering tool if our cities fall apart. And our last Enviro Health note from the WinnipegFreePress.com study shows smart people sleep late. Our couple of drug war notes. Texas Governor Rick Perry calls for U.S. troops to fight Mexico's drug war. And the other one, U.S. moves to ban chemicals in synthetic marijuana. Ban everything. You aren't smart enough to take care of yourself. We need to ban everything. And yes, we get to our Econo Crash notes. Black Friday, a festival of greed in a sea of pain and suffering. The economiccollapseblog.com getting into the charade that we see. And it is the charade. It's the shadows cast on the wall of Plato's cave. Because going on behind the scenes, we learn from Blacklisted News, and I believe this comes just straight from mainstream media, the mainstream talking heads. And we also note Brad Sherman even said on the House floor in October 2008, threatening martial law if the TARP bailout bills weren't passed. And, of course, it passed with the collusion of the previous puppet and the current puppet administration. But we have a CNBC report where the Pentagon and the military are actively wargaming large-scale economic breakdown and civil unrest.
The U.S. versus China, it's looking more and more like an economic Cold War, and it's not just a talking point at the Pentagon. They are planning for real economic threats to America.